Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 15 of season 6 of FormulaXbox. Tonight we're on the streets of Singapore at Marina Bay for the Singapore Grand Prix. And as you can see, the weather is decidedly inclement. It's raining heavily here, and for the first time ever we're going to have a wet race in Singapore. And it is a fantastic street circuit in the dry, let alone in the wet, when the challenge is heightened even further than what you usually expect to see. So 23 corners, all of which are very technical and all of which have barriers waiting for any driver to make a mistake on the exit. Making no mistake in qualifying though was RBZ, back on pole once again after letting a couple I should say slip away from him of late, with a 140.617 putting his Haas on pole position. And with track position being so critical around here, you have to say that is a good move for him. Luke just 2.5 tenths away in second, so we have the two leading championship protagonists, first and second. And after their thrilling battle at Monza, we should surely expect to see something very, very similar today. Luke managed to come out on top in that one after the stewards took RBZ's win away from him as a result of some track extending earlier on. Sinan and Casey are in behind those two, with identical times, in fact, both doing 141.188. But Sinan winning out in that particular battle, with Casey starting P4. Big day for Casey today if he wants to hang on to the coattails of the leading two in the championship hunt. So, about to cross over to the grid now, and we're going to be on board with Luke as we have 2, 3, 4 and 5 red lights in Singapore. Lights out and away we go. RBZ gets a terrible start. Luke has a way and he's jumped a lot of them. He has the whole shot heading into turn 1, and it's RBZ who's fighting off Sinan into turn 1. Sinan and RBZ, as you can see behind Luke, trading places through the first couple of corners, but it's RBZ in the Haas who comes out on top. So it's a change of places early on, and we're going to see now from RBZ's perspective, yeah, just bogs down. I think Luke got away, he just got a better first phase, and RBZ was left with some late lights there, it has to be said, in terms of the sequence, so potentially a little bit of desyncing there, and RBZ jumping across the runoff area by the looks of things there. But it's so tricky for these guys in these conditions, and you can see he's spinning up the rear wheels on traction coming out of turn 3, so it's very, very challenging stuff. And as we see from Sam's perspective back in P12, visibility at a premium on the way into turn 1. Prototypbudgie there making a tremendous move up the inside, gaining lots of places off the line, and lots of cars going wide as well. We saw Worthy and Mercedes off there, and I believe Drastic Midget and the other Mercedes too. So Prototypbudgie, by the looks of things, the big gainer out of that, making up lots of places with a cheeky move down the inside. As we see Drastic Midget on the outside of things, heading to the runoff area there, as it all bunched up at the apex, and really both Mercedes men in fact just had nowhere to go there, and the runoff area was the only option. So as you see later on in the lap now, Prototypbudgie squeezing his way past Drastic Midget and the McLaren man up into P9. He'll be getting altitude sickness at this rate, as we see Nor gets it all squirrely on the exit there of turn 5, and that's going to allow Prototypbudgie and a couple of cars ahead as well to make up some ground. As we jump back to Kev's perspective now, he's got 2 Ferraris ahead of him, and he's got a Mercedes to the inside as well, and Sam with an audacious move down the inside barges Kev out of the way, and Kev hung out to dry there on the exit of turn 7, Raffles Boulevard. And as we see now from Sam's perspective, this is going to be of that incident, I'm sure. Kev going up the outside, Sam getting the hit by the looks of things from the rear. Couldn't quite catch who that was, but that will be why Sam did actually make that move on Kev and made it look a lot more rude than it actually was on Sam's part. So as we battle on through lap 1, we're on board now with KGibbs, who's up in a P6 from a P7 starting position. As we see up ahead, Casey Legends in the wall. Unbelievable scenes here as Casey in the Toro Rosso, the man third in the championship and the one most likely to make it a 3-horse race, is now out of this race on lap 1. What is that going to do for the context of this particular race as well? Are we going to see a safety car now? By the looks of things, yes, a virtual safety car has been deployed. So for Casey's Toro Rosso, it's a bad day that ends in the barriers for him, and we've got a safety car out which is now cleared. It's only a VSC. So Luke still retains the lead, but RBZ is all over him now. And are we going to see a battle similar to what we saw in Monza, where we saw both of them after the restart side by side through turns 1 and 2, which was brilliant stuff to see. And KGibbs, who similarly to Casey's, finding the barriers and unlike Casey, manages to carry on going, but he's got a bit of end flanks damage there now. Probably not too much that he's going to have to make an early unscheduled pit stop, but certainly enough to give him some understeer in the closing phases of this opening stint. As we see, ElusiveKev drops it now, it almost goes into the pit lane there. We saw his limiter flash up on the screen as well, warning him of the approaching pit lane speed limit. And yeah, so tricky conditions, and all the drivers trying desperately to cope with them at the moment, as Hickey gets tagged around there as well by, I couldn't quite catch who that was to be fair, it looked like it might have even been Drastic Devil. We saw a flash of Red Bull go by right at the end of that shot there, and we're going to see it from his perspective now. Yeah, Drastic Devil just gets in way too hot, hits Hickey round, and that's going to be a slam dunk in the stewards room, you've got to say. Drastic Devil with nowhere to go after getting it all wrong under braking. As we see now, battle for the lead, RBZ around the outside by the looks of things of Luke as he sets the fastest lap and takes the lead away from the Toro Rosso man. He gets it all crossed up though on the way into turn 1, locks the rears, jumps across the runoff area. Is he going to give the place back to Luke? You would have thought so, and indeed, yes, he does give it back to him. So, well, these two going hammer and tongs just as they did in Monza, so we're going to see another brilliant battle between them, and of course this is all for the championship. This is what's going to see the points play out towards Abu Dhabi, as we see RBZ getting a run on Luke again. He seems to be enjoying these wet conditions a bit better than the Toro Rosso man. Is he going to get the braking right this time? By the looks of things, he's got it stopped in time, he's hit the apex, and he's nailed the exit. That's RBZ in the Haas into P1. So lap 6 is all now whether Luke can actually keep hold of the Haas, but just as I say that, tags the inside barriers there, and has lost out on a position to Sinan as well. So a crucial mistake there from Luke that's lost him a lot of ground, and with the pace that we've seen from the Haas driver early on in this opening stint, you'd have to say it's going to be tricky for Luke to claw that back in the closing stages, but of course this is Singapore, so safety cars could easily happen. Drastic Midget doing his best to avoid causing a safety car there, just about avoiding what could have easily been a hefty accident there. As we see KGibbs getting it all wrong under braking there, hammers into the barriers, loses his front wing. So drama for Red Bull. We've seen Drastic Devil come to blows with Hickey's Ferrari, and now we've seen KGibbs come to blows with the barrier. So that's going to be a trip to the pit lane for KGibbs, and fortunately for him, he's not far away from the pit stop window. We've seen the rain has been easing up a little bit, and a lot of these guys stopping now are probably going to switch to the intermediate compound. We're going to see Sam boxing now, usually the master of strategy. So what is he going to do? Yes, it is intermediate tyres for the Ferrari. So whether that's a call from Sam, whether that's a call from the pit wall, I don't know just yet, but ultimately it's probably going to turn out to be the right call, as we see lots of guys jumping in now for the intermediate compound tyres. Drastic Midget now boxes for Mercedes, and yes, fits the green marked intermediate tyres, as we saw a Williams in there as well. KGibbs sets the fastest lap of the race. He of course pitted on lap 8 for those inters as well, and those couple of extra laps reference have paid dividend there, as he goes and bangs in a purple lap. As we see Drastic Midget now emerging from the pit lane with SRLMonstA in behind, and he comes out in P9. So still in the points for Drastic Midget, who seems to have been in the thick of a lot of the action so far, and he comes right back out into the path of a battle with his teammates, and we've got Vakid behind him as well. So Worthy goes all the way around the outside of Drastic Midget, who now faces a battle to get used to the conditions. As we see ElusiveKev drops it on the way into the pit lane, loses a bit of his front wing as well. So drama for Kev. We saw him understeering and oversteering all the way through turns 1 and 2, the last 2 corners of the circuit earlier on, and now he's having more drama at that particular point on the racetrack. As we see Luke now emerging from the pit lane, Sinan still goes through, so after the pit stops have shaken their way out, Sinan on the intermediate tyres, and now Luke, and Luke still behind the Renault. As we see the 2 Red Bulls have come together, and Drastic Devil is still on the wet compound tyres, quite sensibly lets his teammate go as well, as he's going to be pretty slow, you'd imagine, on those blue marked wet tyres. But after his contact earlier on with Hickey, you've got to say that Drastic Devil may as well try something different. I believe trying to extend those wet tyres all the way till dry tyres are required, so trying to jump a pit stop, basically do what Lewis Hamilton managed to do in the 2016 Monaco Grand Prix, and it worked pretty well for the Brit then. So Drastic Devil trying to perform a similar thing, but given that KGibbs has cruised up behind him in the manner that he has, you'd have to say it's looking like a bit of a shaky strategy at the moment. As we see Drastic Midget and Monster continue in their battle that was first on pit road, Drastic Midget trying around the outside, but Monster has that one covered, and it's all going to be about getting a good run now out of turn 5. Sam pops his nose into the equation as well and fancies a bit of this particular fight. Monster gets good traction out of there and keeps the move going. As we see now, Drastic Midget on traction, gets very good run out of that corner. He's gone to the inside of the Williams. They're going to be very, very close as they head past the corner there, turn 6 up Raffles Boulevard. On the brakes now, Drastic Midget has the outside line. Can he hold it? Can he hold it? He can indeed. Sensational move there from Drastic Midget up into P10 and the all-important points playing places. So very good stuff from him there, and he's now all over the back of Drastic Devil, who's on this audacious strategy as I mentioned earlier. The two of them are very, very close. They've come together. Drama of the highest order here as we see front wings and debris flying everywhere. Drastic Devil comes to blows with Drastic Midget, and it's all gone very, very wrong for those two. And Maestro now passes Drastic Devil as well. He was trying to make that ambitious strategy work, and ultimately on that one he's come a cropper. So nightmare for Drastic Midget, who was making good progress as well. We saw in that battle with Monster he wasn't going to back down, and he went all the way from pit road to P10. But now Drastic Midget has plenty of work still to do. Sam now going around the outside of Monster as well. Monster's got people coming around his outside, left, right and centre, and Sam makes that move stick. Tremendous racing once again up into P9, and as we see, a very different story with Drastic Midget heading to pit road once again on lap 16 and fitting what looks to be a set of soft compound tyres. So he's now going to try an audacious strategy. He might as well, given the circumstances, and makes an early stop, you'd have to say, to go on to the soft compound rubber. Drastic Devil making that call just one lap earlier. As we cut back to Drastic Midget's on board there, and into the wall he goes with some more front wing damage for him. So the Mercedes man definitely in the wars today, as we see Luke now boxing for a set of the super soft tyres. So a racy strategy from Luke now. We've seen a lot of the guys going onto the soft compound tyres, but Luke in this championship battle with RBZ wants to take the high ground on tyre strategy. So super softs for him, can he get those to the end of the races? Lap 18 of 31s, that's quite a long way to go. Hence the decision by a lot of guys to go onto the soft tyres. But if he can make those tyres go to the end, then that's going to put him in good stead if he does come wheel to wheel with RBZ at the end. As we see Drastic Midget putting a very uncompromising move there on Drastic Devil. Potentially a little bit of payback for their earlier incident, which Drastic Midget I'm sure will blame Drastic Devil for. As we see the two of them now going hammer and tongs. Midget going wide there on the exit of the final corner. Drastic Devil, this is actually his perspective of that particular fight now by the looks of things, and Drastic Midget, no, doesn't quite make the move stick on this occasion. Can't quite get down the inside like he did just a lap ago. And we see it now from his perspective. The two of them come very, very close once again there. Drastic Midget down the inside, can't make it work. As we see now Kev getting blue flagged as the leader RBZ makes his way past. And as we see on the mini-map there's quite a gap between RBZ and Luke. That could be insurmountable, to be fair, for the Toro Rosso man. He's got some laps to do it in, but by the time he cruises up to the back of the Haas, you'd imagine his tyres are going to be a little bit second hand. As we see Sam now making the move for P8 on Monster. Both of these guys on the soft compound tyres, and ultimately that's kind of the way to go if you don't want to have to worry about how many tyres you've got left at the end. As we see Drastic Devil in the wall there. He's been in the wars today, and we're going to see now just how he ended up there. So heading through turn 5, gets a track limits warning and slams into the barrier on the exit, and that is his car out of this race. As we see, suffers a similar fate to what Casey had earlier on, but Casey of course crashing out in the wet conditions, Drastic Devil crashing out in the on the dry track. As we see ElusiveKev making a move now on Drastic Midget. Midget snapping straight back at him though, and around the outside now the two of them go fast through turn 8. Supreme wheel-to-wheel racing between these two guys. We've seen it in the past and we're seeing it again now as Kev and Midge, after two difficult days for the both of them, you have to say, are going hammer and tongs at it for P11 as the two of them collide there, and Kev's come out worse with a puncture. So disaster for Kev. It's come to an end all too early, that particular battle. I was looking forward to that one hotting up, and that's Kev with a puncture to his left rear, or his right rear I should say, and a bit of drama for him in this particular race. As we see Drastic Devil skulking back to the Red Bull garage after what's been another difficult afternoon for him. In the races he has actually managed to finish this season. He's finished well with 2 podiums, but ultimately today has not been his day on that one. as we see Prototype Budgie now and Drastic Midget battling out. Prototype Budgie, I believe, was being lapped there after a tricky day once again from the McLaren manager. See Gibbs with Nor all over the back of him now, and looks like he lets Nor go. The Renault man going with the aggressive ultra soft strategy, making 2 pit stops for dry compound tyres. Gibbs looking to stretch out his soft tyres as far as they can go, and ultimately sealing the position to Nor there by the looks of things. And these guys who are on the ultra soft tyres now have ultimately decided to bail out of their one dry stop strategy, so to speak, and have gone for a racier ultra soft. And with RBZ doing the same thing, it's kind of forced Luke's hand really on that one, given that he was on the super soft compound. So really it's not a case of the super soft nor the soft really working, it's a case of how hard you've driven that particular stint and whether you've got enough time to make a free pit stop. Luke pinching fastest lap at the end, but it's RBZ who's taken the victory and the big 25 points once again for him. And ultimately the stewards aren't going to intervene on this one, you imagine, with Luke 23 seconds behind after making that earlier mistake at the hairpin. He just hasn't been able to claw in the margin that was drawn out between him and RBZ, and that means RBZ takes the high ground in this championship hunt, or at least reels in Luke's championship lead, the lead down to just 1 point now. So Luke on 231 points, RBZ on 230, and Casey falling adrift on 182. So Casey's got some real work to do now. I think, to be fair, that with that crash earlier on all but ends his hopes of taking the season 6 title. But you never know with FormulaXbox. We've seen stranger things in the past, and who knows? We may even have a different challenger emerge. But RBZ and Luke now seem very, very consistent as the 2 fastest guys on this grid, and the 2 that seem most likely to take the 25 points each and every weekend. So aside from that, fantastic racing once again through the field, and in P3 it was Sinan, and in P4 it was Nor. So a good day for Renault ultimately, and a pretty good day for Gibbs as well, finishing in P5 I believe, and ultimately equaling his best result of the season so far. So good news for him, not so good news for Casey or for Midge or for Kev, who all had difficult days in that one. But ultimately we move on, and next time we'll be in Malaysia, just hopping a few 200 miles I think up the road to Kuala Lumpur and to the Sepang International Circuits. So thank you very much for joining me tonight for this FormulaXbox race. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, in particular your thoughts on who may take this championship title. Will it be RBZ or will it be Luke? Just 1 point separates them now as we head into the final few rounds of this thrilling contest. So for now at least folks, until Malaysia, we shall see you very soon. Goodbye.